Hey, welcome to Anathema. My name is Lauren, and I am so happy to have you here. A big thank you, especially to everybody who is in the live chat. We are currently streaming to X, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, and Rumble. So, big thank you, especially to the subscribers on Kick and Twitch. Fallen Radiant, good to see you again. McTronic Man 07's in the chat. Shupedo, nice to see you. Kutrang, Faceless Bounty Hunter on Kick. Kuda Panda, hi guys. It is so good to see you guys. So many familiar, I won't say faces, but at the very least, usernames. And Roman Prolapsky, of course, the legend. How could I forget? We have a lot to talk about today. First off, I hope everyone had a good weekend. It's currently 110 degrees in Nashville. Just so hot. It's like you enter any place outside and it's like being hit in the face with a hairdryer. That is currently what's going on. I have air conditioning blasting, but still apologies if I get progressively sweatier and shinier throughout the stream because I still have lights and it's a battle to try to stay cool. Yeah, the show's name is Anathema, which basically means something disavowed, set aside, which is me in the space of conservative media. It's a fun place to be, but hey, at least I still have you guys. Yeah, like I said, so much to talk about today. There are some days, I'm not going to lie to you, where it's a struggle to pick what I want to talk about on stream. Is this interesting to other people? Is this interesting enough for me? Not always clear. However, that is not the case today. There's literally 7 million stories that I want to talk about. First off, Tim Pool recently appeared on a Jubilee episode, Surrounded. So if you guys, I'm sure you're familiar with the format. It's one person and then 20 people who disagree with that on something. And that's kind of like multiple mini debates over different claims that they make. So Tim Pool was featured on one of them. There's this one clip where it looks like he walks off that the leftists are using as an example of, he was flustered. Not the case. Okay. I've actually watched the video in full. We're going to look at some of it together. I'm kind of disillusioned with this whole like debate bro format online. I've thought this for a while, but everything I'm seeing now is just kind of confirming that it's usually fake and gay. It is so rare to have good faith, I guess, like cross aisle conversations. I'm beginning to wonder whether they're even worth it a lot of the time. And unfortunately, just this whole Jubilee Tim Pool fiasco, it solidified my opinion. Next, Dean Withers, leftists. I don't know if he's a sock dam. I assume he is because he's a young person on the left, but the proponent for Believe All Women, who is multiple times referred to Donald Trump as like a rapist or a predator. He now has his own series of sexual misconduct allegations. And I don't know, it turns out it's a lot harder to live by the axiom of believe all women when you're facing these unproven allegations. Will the left learn anything? Probably not. But we also have Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson. We covered their debate over the Charlie Kirk case last stream, but there's still fallout. They're still going at it on X. Was anyone's mind changed over this? We're going to be looking at it. Nodal China, one of our mods. Hey, good to see you. He says Dean is actually a retard. Well, yeah. Axel Foley on Rumble. They're not worth it. This IDW debate bro crap needs to finally die. I mean, I want to believe that it's possible for two people of opposing views to just sit down and have a respectful conversation where they're not just trying to get like ownage points for the internet, but actually understand better why the other person thinks what they do, what the evidence for it, and together, we all try to strive for truth. That's what I'm interested in. That's basically almost never what happens online in the political commentary space. And it's very disappointing. So yeah, we have, in that same vein, we have the follow-up to Candace and Andrew. And actually, I got to say, a lot of people were like, that debate is useless, waste of time. It's giving me a headache. That debate was honestly, compared to like what's going on with Tim Pool and Jubilee, just an example of like the platonic form of respectful conversation. Because at least Andrew and Candace, they were adults. They let each other speak. It was, I think, productive. Same cannot be said for that whole Jubilee thing, but we'll get into it. Also, Lindsay Clancy. I've been avoiding talking about this case because if you guys aren't familiar, Lindsay Clancy is the mom who is now standing trial for murdering her 3 kids. It's just upsetting. I used to be really into true crime, but now that I'm older, I have kids. It's really upsetting for me to talk about anything to do with kids because it's just it's sad, it's heartbreaking. But I can't ignore this case any longer because now there seems to be mass psychosis happening on like female TikTok where we have all these women defending Lindsay Clancy. Oh, but like postpartum psychosis is a real thing. Postpartum depression, it's hard. Shupetto, yeah, did she raise $715,000? Yes. I hate to say it, but she is increasingly showing herself to be like women's Carmelo Anthony for Black people. And like, I don't care what you're going through, what medication you're on. It's always wrong to kill your kids. Can we at least accept that? And it just feels like a lot of the women rallying around her, honestly, it seems like they're wanting to avoid responsibility toward anything to do with motherhood. And I think this is what happens when we increasingly normalize abortion. We are, maybe the people who are doing this don't realize it, but it's the end result. We are increasingly also dehumanizing children and the value of their lives. Mactronic Man, are they framing it as a very late abortion? They might as well be. They might as well be. All of the responsibility, the consequences are removed from the mother, who, by the way, is a full-grown adult, capable of making her own decisions. She has agency, and it's just she's a victim. It's not her fault. Insane. It's Chewy713. Glad to see you. Glad to see your stream. Hey, everybody. Oh, yeah. And then final piece, shocking news. So this is going to be an interesting stream, but also somewhat of a dark stream because the other news we have is that Jason Arday, who we've talked about previously, he was like the youngest, the blackest professor Cambridge had ever seen. Turns out he had actually falsified a lot of his credentials. He faced a bit of a media storm. Once that was revealed, he had some criticism, I think rightfully so. He has now been announced dead. Now, there haven't really been details released, aside from that they don't suspect foul play. Basically, it seems almost assuredly that he either unalived himself. I'm sorry, I will employ TikTok speech to avoid angering the algorithm, but it's being implied that he killed himself. People aren't discussing the fact that maybe it was also an overdose. That's I think a possibility. But now, in light of that, we can't just be like, oh, very tragic, hearts out to his family and move on. The left is actually blaming the right for his death. How you might say it's because we criticized him over it. So to clarify, if a left-winger kills a right-winger, as is the case with Charlie Kirk, then it's the right-winger's fault for being racist and a bigot and deserving of death, is what we've seen from the left. But also now, if a left-winger kills himself, that's still the right-wing's fault for being too mean and kind of pointing out that he's a fraud. So basically, no matter what happens, if there's violence, regardless of who did it or who it was done against, it's the right's fault. It is the right's fault. So we're going to get into the Tim Pool story first. Before we do, though, Fallen Radiant, I sent you a DM over the weekend. I'm not sure if you care, but it came out on the DL that Amazon started using all Twitch streams to train its AI. I thought you might want to put the kibosh on that and opt out. Oh, yes, I did see. I saw your DM as I was cooking dinner. So unfortunately, I forgot to respond. But yes, I did see that. Thank you for letting me know. So not only, by the way, that's right. Not only is Amazon using Twitch streams to train its AI, but they're also making participation in training this AI opt out for streamers. So unless you opt out of this, your streams are being used to train the AI that might be your eventual replacement. Are we going to have like AI e-girls now coming for my job? Unacceptable. Don't support that at all. So I did. Yeah, thank you. I opted out, but it's also one of those things where not only do you have to opt out instead of opt in, you have to scroll all the way through your account settings in order to do so. So it's just very slimy, very underhanded. Spanky McDougal, using Twitch streams to train AI, the AI will be a degenerate. Oh, 100%. I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, we saw what happened with like Mecha Grok being trained through X interactions. Not the best thing. But speaking of how terrible Twitch is, big thank you, actually, unironically, to Twitch. I am now a Twitch partner. If you guys missed the last stream, so that is a goal that I had to honestly, hopefully accomplish by the end of the year. I don't know if you guys know, 0.5 to 1% of Twitch streamers are actually Twitch partners. So it's a big deal. And it was something that I was striving for, starting this new show on this new platform. I didn't expect it to happen so soon. So if you are watching really anywhere, thank you for that. But specifically also a big A big thank you to the people on Twitch. And also, if you don't like Jeff Bezos and you don't like Twitch, but you still want to support me, a little hack I will once again mention is that if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you actually get a free Twitch subscription included with your Amazon Prime membership. So you can subscribe to me and support the streams that way. And it's not actually money out of your pocket. And it's also actually less money for Jeff Bezos. So if you want to do that, would really appreciate being your free included Twitch subscription. And thank you again to all of the subscribers on Twitch and Kick. But yes, now let us Dan 947 Lauren just needs some light up cat ears and she will be a fully fledged e-girl. I'm not going to lie. The thought has crossed my mind. Do I just abandon current events entirely because they're too controversial and I embrace the game? Like, should I just be streaming Destiny or something? Is that the future? There's a non-zero chance. I'm not going to lie. I may get burnt out of this. Specifically because of stories like we're about to cover with Tim Pool. Okay, so Jubilee. It's this YouTube channel that's been blowing up over the past, I guess, several months, if not years, because they do all of these debates, which are sometimes really interesting. Sometimes you have groups I've seen like progressive Christians versus conservative Christians. They talk about it. Black Republicans versus Black Democrats. They hash it out. I've actually been on a Jubilee panel that I thought was fine. It was, I guess, Trump supporting Republicans versus anti-Trump Republicans. You guys, I think that's still up. You can watch it. But they also have this other debate format that's a little bit newer that's really been getting them a lot of clicks and views called Surrounded. And that's when there's one person squaring off against 20 people who disagree with them. So infamously, rather, we had Dave Rubin, who was supposed to be presenting the MAGA side of things versus 20 liberals. That didn't go very well for Dave Rubin. Consensus was basically that he did not perform well. I always also thought that he was not a good fit for that prompt. Dave Rubin, he's been like a DeSantis supporter. I don't know how they kind of figured that he was the best person to represent MAGA. But yeah, he agreed to it. He kind of got demolished. We also had Jordan Peterson. And also didn't go well for Jordan Peterson. It's rare these things go well for the people, the one person squaring off against 20 people. Hey, which is understandable. 20 people all kind of attacking you. It's not easy to be in that position. But Jordan Peterson, he got flack for appearing on what was originally marketed as one Christian versus 20 atheists. Problem, though, is that Jordan Peterson is not actually a Christian. He will not admit that he is a Christian. And so they ended up changing it to Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists. Anyway, the atheists they called him out on the fact that he was essentially defending a worldview that even he himself at least wouldn't publicly admittedly subscribe to. Guys, if you're an influencer, I think there's a bit of hubris involved sometimes in taking on these debates. Like if a certain topic is not your thing, either you're not that passionate about it, you're not that informed about it, you don't really identify with it, maybe just say no. I know it's like good publicity in theory, but like in practice, if we actually are trying to get to the truth of these different issues, not every influencer is going to be the best fit for this. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no maybe next time, but thanks for the offer. More people should be doing that. But anyway, Tim Pool recently had his own episode. And here, I'll bring it up now. It is, here we go. One moderate versus 20 progressives featuring Tim Pool. And this has proven to be controversial for several reasons. Number one, the first thing that people online are taking umbrage with is the fact that, oh, Tim Pool is a moderate? What? No, he's far right. So leftists online are complaining that Tim Pool, hey, he's not actually a moderate. He is far right. Basically a white supremacist. Guys, you don't have to like Tim Pool, but if you watch his show, you will know that he is in fact a moderate. Hey, most of this debate, which by the way, I did watch the whole thing, he's agreeing with the leftists on a lot of their attacks on the Republican Party. Tim Pool is not this like diehard conservative. I mean, number one, I think he's still pro-choice. He supported Bernie in 2016. He's not against a lot of these like social safety net programs. He is in fact a moderate. He only seems far right through the lens of this insane like leftist movement that is so far left, they're literally embracing communism. So that's the first thing. Electronic Man, he supports the Iran war. He's not a moderate. Okay, flat out false. Tim Pool does not support the Iran war. Being anti-intervention, anti-war is one of the most consistent positions he has had. He even talks about that in this Jubilee episode. So he does not support the Iran war. Now, he is not as critical of Israel as a lot of people on the dissident right and the left are now, but that still doesn't mean he supports the Iran war. Yeah. He voted for Obama. You are correct. Sinos, Tim has always been a leftist. To me, that's kind of frankly how I think of him, center left, because I am actually right wing. But anyway, leftists are mad. They're so left wing. They're mad he's being called a moderate. But basically, Tim Pool, he sits down with these different leftists, and there are several segments in this episode where he defends different opinions or claims that he has against these leftists. So, claim number one, what is it? The mainstream left commits more violence than the mainstream right. Claim number two, the Democratic Party has embraced authoritarianism. Another claim, the Constitution effectively does not exist anymore. And this one is the claim that is getting all the social media attention. The United States is tracking toward a civil war. Axel Foley, he didn't denounce Nick, therefore he's far right. But the ironic thing is he has kind of denounced Nick. He refused to have him on his show for the longest time. He definitely doesn't agree with any of Nick's views, but because he, actively isn't calling for him to be deplatformed and thrown in prison, I guess that means he's a Nick Fuentes supporter. The Raven 99, you're pretty libertarian. Am I? I'm small government. But there's some things about libertarians, I guess the movement, that I just can't get on board with. So I can't call myself a libertarian. One of the things is basically not being willing to rein in corporate power, like BlackRock or big tech. I don't have a problem with regulating those behemoths because I think there is a possibility that corporations become so powerful they also impede on individual liberty or the public well-being. So libertarians don't like me because of that, or I should say they don't agree with me. I have a lot of libertarian friends and supporters, but also the issue of borders. Now, not all libertarians are open borders, but there is definitely an open border movement within libertarianism that I also don't support. Redacted 987 on Rumble. Good point. Small government isn't strictly libertarian. Yes. And I would say I have conservatarian tendencies. I flirt with small government. Like in my heart of hearts, I wish I could just be like a minarchist. But then I remember that a lot of people are retarded and that probably wouldn't work. But in my imaginary utopia, I'm like where I'm the monarch and I rule over in a minarchist fashion. Those are my politics. Fallen Radiant, I tried to embrace Tim for a while. I don't know. He comes off as disingenuous and following the crowd. I don't feel like he has real opinions. That is one of the Tim Pool is criticized frequently for being milquetoast and a fence sitter. But I think honestly that is just because he is moderate, because he doesn't take an extreme position usually, because he's moderate. Like I honestly I don't think that makes him a grifter disingenuous. I just think that makes him a moderate. Now, obviously, I don't consider myself a moderate on most issues, so I disagree with Tim a lot. But yeah, here we go. So this is the United States is tracking toward a civil war claim is one of the things that Tim Pool is probably most famous / infamous for. If you watch his channel, he frequently will do these videos where he's like, yes, see, civil war, it's coming. There's increasing violence happening. It's kind of a meme actually, amongst people who watch his channel that, oh yeah, the civil war is happening. But to be clear, this is not Tim Pool advocating for a civil war. He's not like, yes, let's go. This needs to happen. It's more of a descriptive observation that he makes rather than a prescription. Does that make sense? He's not saying, I want civil war. Civil war would be good. Tim Pool frequently covers stories about political violence. And when doing so, he makes the observation, guys, we're getting more and more polarized. Political violence is becoming more common. I think we are on track toward a civil war. And it's not just his opinion, as he points out in the Jubilee segment. There are actual studies that have been done on this. There are experts who have weighed in on civil wars. They say that, we are starting to meet some of the early signs that this is where it might be heading. But Sinas, did he vote for Trump in 2024? I'm all but certain that yes, he did. I think he did. The new redneck Tim just tells you what you want to hear and what will bring in clicks and views. I prefer Phil on the show. I disagree. But, that basically I'm reading these comments out because they are a lot of what the criticism that Tim gets. Mactronic Man, he's been saying that for over a decade. That's true. And that's why, like, I personally don't, I disagree with Tim here. I think political violence is becoming more and more common, but I think there's a lot of space between, oh, we have these riots versus actual civil war. So anyway, but this was one of the prompts that he had to defend on this this Jubilee episode. And there's this one clip from this segment that is going viral. Mason, who is one of the leftists that Tim Pool debates, he shared this clip. Tim Pool rage quits when he's called out for grifting. Oh, wow. So Tim must have been given the smackdown, right? I mean, this has like 41,000 likes, 4.8 million views. So, I mean, let's watch it.
My next surrounded claim is that the United States is
second. Before we get into that, big thank you. I just saw apologies. Big thank you to Parley Star, who we see all the time in chat. We love Parley Star. He's just gifted a subscription to the community. So thank you. He's gifted 3 overall, gifted a sub to, Faceless Bounty Hunter. Nice. So happy for that. Thank you so much, Parley Star. And hey, Faceless Bounty Hunter, enjoy the custom emotes. I've actually just made 2. I haven't uploaded them, but I made 2 more, one of Crying Lauren and one of Crusader Lauren. So if you guys have more ideas for more emotes, let me know. I'll make them. I do use AI for them. I don't know if that's like taboo. People want to murder you basically on social media if you use AI at all. It's like, sorry, I don't know art. I can't make my own chibis. Or I guess I could. It would take a long time that I would probably be better spent doing other things. Seductive Roof 6. Oh my gosh, Shrill Lauren emote. Yes, that is such a, yes, we are making that happen. Shrill Lauren. It's just going to be me screeching like a banshee. Yes, I love it. I love it. You guys can put that in the chat next time I freak out. But it's funny. One of the women who talked to Tim, we might watch some of her segment. She was also getting more and more shrill as their conversation was going on, and I was like, oh man, you're so shrill right now, and I empathize with her, but like it's not pleasing. You don't want to be the shrill woman screeching at people, especially when it comes to politics. It's kind of like it's its own stereotype that I'm trying to avoid, but it's not easy. It's not easy. Okay, so where is it? Okay, someone just mentioned, I can't find it. Faceless Bounty Hunter. That's a good point. I've not seen my friend Happen Nationalist. I hope they are okay. That's true. I also haven't seen him. Shout out to him. He's one of our mods, but I was like looking through, I had to unban a couple people who were maybe a little bit overzealously banned. And I saw Happen Nationalist had, banned some people a while ago, but it's true. I haven't seen them in a hot minute. So I don't know if any of you guys see him in other chats. Just tell him we miss him and we hope he's okay. He doesn't need to come and like watch my streams, but hope he's doing okay. Yeah, maybe a new job or something. That's true. And thank you to Break and K, who has just subscribed with Prime. Big thank you. But yeah, so this guy in the back of Tim right here, who's got a green shirt, we're gonna look at him because in an earlier segment, he was just so rude to Tim. He refused to shake his hand and was basically just combative and arguing the entire time. And it's funny because I recently I don't know if you guys remember a while ago, like I did a really short stream from a hotel room. It's because I was traveling to do a debate panel with the Walkaway Movement, which should be out pretty soon. But this guy, whose name I think is David, he was on it and he was a lot more respectful with us than he was with Tim. But it's still like, there's just so much aggression that sometimes they bring to these debates. And it's like, it doesn't need to be like that. It's a good reminder that a lot of these people, they hate us for being conservative, but it's like, I don't hate him. I don't hate any of these people. I'd be happy to have lunch with them, to talk with them about things that are not political. But I mean, it's kind of sobering to realize that they do not feel the same. They would not want to sit with you. They would not want to shake your hand. It's just like, there's so much vitriol. Anyway, Mr. Lee Sensei, it's okay to hate them, Lauren. Then like there are like leftist actors who I like probably would hate, but it's like, if just because you're a socialist doesn't mean I would hate you. doesn't mean I wouldn't be friends with you. And it's just, when I see this level of aggression and hatred towards someone like Tim Pool, who again is a moderate, yeah, it is just a good reminder that these people, and I mean, they have tried this, like they would probably try to imprison me, like try to just remove any rights that I have. That's where we are. And this type of thing, being on the other end of that is probably part of why Tim Pool thinks that a civil war is on track to happen. All right, so let's look at this clip.
Tracking towards a civil war.
There's 42 of your titles that have the word civil war in it.
Correct.
With big fonts on the front.
They sure do.
So why is that? It's sensationalist. It's easy to get clicks on that. There's a reason why you say it, because it's very profitable for your business.
Not necessarily. But we have 1,600 episodes of just IRL.
There comes a point where people stop taking your predictions seriously.
Are you going to make an argument, or are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
Okay, then let's make an argument about.
Okay, so as you can see, there are two different conversations happening. Tim is trying to defend the claim that the United States is tracking toward a civil war. And this guy, but he did just make a good point. This is something that Tim has been saying for like years and years now, and it hasn't happened. Isn't that just in and of itself at least some evidence that the United States is not tracking toward a civil war? Perhaps we are just in a sustained period where political polarization is high, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to escalate further. That is a debate you can have, but this guy also simultaneously seems to just want to call Tim a grifter and a clickbaiter, which is like, Tim did not sign up to be, I don't know, insulted as a creator or to debate the merits of his thumbnail choices and title choices. Looks like Tim is being the aggressive one. Well, Tim is, I think, rightfully pointing out that this is not the issue. And we're going to look at the interaction that he had just had before this guy, because it is relevant. It's not being shown when leftists circulate this clip, but we'll go through it.
Whether or not we are tracking. No. If you're making an argument, you don't like my thumbnails, or you say my name over and over again.
I'm saying that you say bullshit in order to get money. But
but how is that? You say, okay, nice ad hom. Where is the actual substance of the argument for the claim that I'm making? What's going on?
Let me ask you a question.
The predictions.
Let me ask you a question you can't answer.
I will agree with you that there's increased polarization. I would attribute a lot of that to people being specifically online.
Let me ask.
There's a lot less interaction with people that are in different camps.
Let me ask you defer.
Where you can say that there's a civil war every fucking year and it doesn't happen. And
I never said there was.
It just hasn't happened yet.
Let me ask you a question.
Or if it does happen, you say, see, I've had it all along.
Let me ask you a question.
You are the same thing as like the Christian rapture people who say that the rapture's coming every year, and when it doesn't happen,
do you want a soapbox? Do you want me to get you a soapbox?
It's really easy. It's really easy to do what you do. It's really easy to do what you do. Like, you literally just say, Civil War is happening next year. Civil War is happening next year. It's coming. Make sure you subscribe to Timcast. Continue to watch my videos, please. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram.
Okay, so yeah, Tim Pool owned by the leftists. He rage quits. Okay, so that's not actually what happens. Now, we're actually going to look at the video itself. This interaction happens around like 50 minutes in. There's like another 50 minutes of the episode. And so what you have before the 50, like in the 50 minutes preceding that little clip, what you had was Tim Pool sitting calmly, being very cordial, talking with these leftists, trying to point out common ground a lot. Then one leftist comes, berates Tim for being an instigator of civil war. And then this other leftist comes and does that again. Tim says, hey, no, this is not like, you guys are just attacking my content. We're not debating the substance of the issue. Stands up, threatens to walk off, but then the debate resets. New person comes. They actually continue to discuss the topic at hand, which is whether the U.S. is tracking toward a civil war. And you have another 50 minutes of respectful debate. But because no one watches the entire video, now the headline, now what everyone's like, oh, Tim Pool rage quit. He was so triggered by leftists. No, that's not what happened. This was like a minute out of an hour and 40-minute long episode. The majority of the time, by the way, Tim Pool is absolutely laying the beat down on the leftists. We're going to look at some of it. This is why so much of these online debates is just fake and gay. It's fake and gay. It's for clip. It's for toxicity. And the ironic part is this guy, this leftist, Mason on X, he is doing exactly what he accuses Tim Pool of doing. He is click farming. He is rage baiting. He's taking something out of context. He is trying to hype it up to be more serious than it is. And it's not the case. Metronic Man, rage quitting never looks good. But Tim doesn't actually rage quit, right? He says, like, I'm done with you. Like, you're not, hey, this guy's being disrespectful and off topic. But then he comes back and he debates for another 50 minutes. That's what's so frustrating to me. And you could say he shouldn't have left, but he didn't actually leave. Snow Lucille, I thought Tim Pool ran, but he didn't. He didn't actually run. That's the thing. It's fake and gay. So let's look at some more of the interaction over the Civil War claim. Actually, hang on. Let's go to this, like, the green shirt guy, David, because he was like rude to Tim previously. Here. Okay. Okay, so this is Tim and David. The mainstream left commits more violence than the mainstream right.
Permission structure for individuals to go out and do violence
like what?
Against around us are not low IQ.
All right, if you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, young man? Listen.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just say, I don't know what Gen Z is doing with pants right now. I've thought this for a while. I don't know what's happening with pants. I stopped wearing jeans around 2020 with COVID. I just stopped going out. So I was like, you know what? Sweatpants and leggings are my thing now. I'm like trying to reintroduce myself to the world of the properly clothed. But in the 6 years I've stopped wearing jeans, weird things have happened to jeans, especially women's jeans. We're doing barrel pants. We're going back to the baggy thing. I've seen bell bottoms. Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I know I've had people tell me that my skinny jeans are dating me, which is like, okay, fair. I'm not married to them forever, but can we not do the bell bottoms? Can we not do the barrel pants? And I'm actually, this has been on my mind a lot because we're going into fall. I'm going to have to start wearing long pants. What am I going to do? Are my choices literally barrel pants, which I think look ridiculous? I'm sorry. Or skinny jeans, which make me look like a 40-year-old? I don't know. I don't know how to discern different jean styles. It's very obvious. Like skinny jeans are like where they're leg hugging, figure hugging all the way down. Now, apparently those are passé. Yes, those pants are so unflattering. If you guys don't know, short tangent. If you guys don't know what barrel jeans are, they're actually a thing that people use, that people wear. At first I saw them online. I was like, there's no way people are wearing that, but they are. This is what they look like. This is what women's fashion is now. These types of pants. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. Yeah, not a good look. What's happening? This is not flattering to the female form. It looks like you're bow-legged. It looks like you have some sort of bone condition. And I'm sorry, because I have friends who I've seen like wear these, but I can't. No, what are you doing? This looks bad. I'm sorry, David's jeans. I don't mean to be catty, but David's jeans made me think of that. He's not wearing barrel pants, but it looks kind of like he was, I don't know, he's rocking some sort of like bell bottom, which he is very of the moment, but I just don't think it looks good. I don't think it looks good. Yeah, it looks like Mewtwo. It's not flattering. It's not flattering.
Yeah. I haven't been young for a minute.
Now, slow down with that. Listen,
all right.
Wow. So he's just like Tim Pool, by the way. If you're listening as a podcast, reminder for the audio only lovers out there, the show is available as a podcast on all the podcast platforms. But if you're not watching with video, so Tim Pool offers his hand to shake to David, which he's been doing to all of these leftists. Most of them shake his hand. You know, it's the respectful thing to do. This guy refuses. Why are you coming out and being a douchebag right away? Like, why? I like a straight, sorry, the people in the chat still talk about jeans. I like a straight jean. I can get on board with baggy. Actually, one of my friends gave me her old pair of baggy jeans. And I wore it and people actually commented like, oh, that looks good. So I could get on board maybe with the baggy jeans to a certain extent. Some of them are going a little too crazy, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not in a happy place right now with jeans, with pants, which is frustrating because usually fall fashion is my favorite. Yeah. Yeah, a guy hoping he's going to go viral and get his 10,000 followers. That's exactly what it is. So much of this posturing is just you're trying to get clicks and followers. And I don't know, for me, I just feel like it's a huge turnoff.
It's really quick. The I condemn is a really cheap cop-out. That's not going to work.
It's not an argument.
Because the people around us are not low IQ, like your average viewer. It's important to recognize.
Why? Like, it's a cop-out. It's not a cop-out. It's just Tim Pool actually is a moderate. And so what a lot of these leftists do, and what this guy was doing in our debate panel, is like, it'll be a topic and they're like, oh, Trump did this. Okay, I'm not Caroline Leavitt. Tim Pool is not Caroline Leavitt. We are not a spokesperson for the Trump administration or the Republican Party in general. Our political beliefs exist outside of what Trump does. So if we're trying to discuss the substance of the issue, why we believe in this policy, or, you know, the specific worldview, but you're just like, oh, Trump this, like, okay, that's nice. Not an argument for what we're talking about. Like, again, I don't know why this needs to be so aggressive. Like, what did show us on the doll where Tim Pool hurt you? In Notable China, great point. If Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool are extremists, imagine what they think of you in the chat. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, but this guy hates us. This guy hates us. Yeah, Trump this, Trump that. And like, by the way, none of Tim's claims had anything to do with Trump. And so, like, a lot of these leftists, they come and you'll see they start ragging on Trump. I didn't like that Trump did this. And Tim's like, yeah, me neither. That's not a cop-out. That's just Tim's opinion. Irish Groipa, good to see you. I don't know if you were here earlier. C. Warner, I thrive from the hate. Okay.
Guys,
make an argument.
So I'm about to.
You don't have one? Is that it? If you want to be insults, we can go for insults. And
I'm about to.
We can rap.
I'm about to.
You want to rap?
Just stop delaying my time.
And so, like, again, Tim here, you can criticize his content, whatever. Throughout this entire thing, he's consistently respectful. Even now, he's trying to turn down the temperature. That's what he's doing. like, this guy's coming off really aggressive. Tim is trying to be amicable, try to turn down the temperature. Like, hey, let's just talk. Like, why? Like, ugh, I hate this so much. I hate this so much.
So it's important to recognize that simply I condemn is not sufficient when the Republican Party has created a permission structure for individuals to go out and do violence
like what?
Against, I'm about to tell you, with impunity. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is a good example.
Law enforcement.
The Trump administration, they
violated
electoral
process.
You know they lost in the courts 10,000 times, right?
That's not true.
It is true. Politico actually released a report on it. Yeah, they lost 10,000 times.
I'm sure it would be like 10,000.
They murdered numerous American citizens. And guess what happened to the individuals that carried out those killings? What happened to them?
What happened to them?
Have they been prosecuted? Any investigations? Do you know?
I believe they have not.
Why? It's almost as if when you commit violence,
you're wrong.
You're going to be protected. That's what's going on. That's why Kristi Noem went out and said that Alex Preddy was a domestic terrorist. That's why Stephen Miller said the same thing. And everybody in the entire Republican Party apparatus is echoing those talking points. Because whenever there's violence, they don't condemn it. They condone it. They congratulate it, and they pardon it.
Okay, so this guy was a lot, but like basically he's saying like, oh, those American citizens died, therefore you're pro-violence. Tim didn't even get a chance to respond, but you don't have to like support widespread violence against leftists or even immigrants to say, hey, it's probably not a good idea to try to pull a gun or like to resist ICE officers who are law enforcement officers. It's definitely not a good idea to try to hit them with the car. That doesn't mean that ICE is just going around shooting random migrants, which would be terrible if they did. But like, let's keep things in perspective here. Okay. Anyway, I think
law enforcement duly elected by a population that voted in plurality for ICE to go out and engage in these
kill
behaviors,
American citizens?
Which sometimes, yes, absolutely. And
they voted for ICE to kill American citizens, really?
Yes.
Okay, that was bad soundbite on Tim's part.
The average Republican, I don't think they're that crazy.
Who said the average Republican would vote? But do you not believe that there are people in this country that would vote for ICE to harm people? Is
this your argument?
Do you believe
this is terrible, Tim?
So you think not a single person in this country wants to harm illegal immigrants?
What's the relevance? We're talking about the fact that there is a top-down approach by Republicans like Donald Trump.
Can I ask you the question again? Can you answer the question?
But okay, so what I would have said if I were Tim, and obviously it's easy to play like Monday morning quarterback, I think is the expression. I don't know. I don't do sports. I feel like a poser even using that phrase, but obviously it's able in like 2020 when I'm not in the hot seat to say this is what Tim should have said. But I would have said the mandate ICE has is not to go out and kill American citizens, which would be wrong. It's not even to go out and kill immigrants. Illegal immigrants are not, like, that would also be wrong. They're trying to detain people who are in the country illegally, many of whom have committed crimes. And if the situation escalates to a point where an ICE officer fears for their life, they do have the right to use force to protect themselves. But that's a very different thing to say you just have a mandate to go out and commit violence. Lauren just did a sports analogy. Am I in an alternate universe? Yeah, it didn't feel natural. I'm sorry.
To happen, foment violence in this country.
Can you answer
and
the
you're
question?
running cover for it.
Actually, you just did.
No, I didn't.
See, I'm pointing out
ICE violence. You're saying that people vote for it or whatever.
You don't think that there are white supremacists voting for ICE to go and harm migrants?
Are you saying that white supremacists voted for Donald Trump so they could
kill
migrants?
Yes, I
am.
What
point Tim is trying to make here.
Okay, good to know that white supremacists make up part of the Republican Party and Donald Trump's doing their bidding.
Yes, I certainly believe they do.
Okay.
The initial claim that I'm making is that there is absolutely violence on the right. I already agree with one of the previous debaters that there's institutional violence from the right as well. The best argument against my claim actually is that the right, when they get levers of power, will use law enforcement as their vehicle for the violence that they want to engage in. Those things are all fair. My point is that we are not.
That's a nice long drawn out concession. Thank you for.
But it's not a concession because maybe we agree.
Oh, okay.
See, I think.
Well, didn't you say the modern political left commits more violence than modern political right? So now you're saying
just because there are riots coming from the left does not mean they're morally right or wrong, or does not mean the right is better or worse. This is a statement about volume of violence that we see and a meaningful issue to a voter as to what is the underlying motivation that we see pushing violence in this country. So when you have ICE going out and engaging in these actions,
this is like a Clarence Thomas level of interpretation with that prompt. That is not what
I don't know why you're trying so hard to disagree when we actually have
That's what, like, this guy. So obviously it's clear here that Tim acknowledges there is violence happening on the right, and he's even willing to concede that these ICE murders represent violence from the right, which I would not concede. But he's willing to concede that because he's a moderate, he's in the middle. But his statement, his belief clearly is just that the left, it has more violence coming from it. This guy, I don't know if he doesn't like understand what Tim, he just wants so badly to be adversarial toward Tim that he's assuming that Tim doesn't think the ICE murders are a problem. I don't know. But anyway.
Common ground.
Pause, we are out of time.
Okay, so clearly the reason why I show that is because it's obvious that this guy, green shirt, does not like Tim, but this is relevant when we get to the United States Civil War segment.
Surrounded claim is that the United States is tracking towards a civil war.
If you'd like to be the first debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back.
Yep. You missed me? So listen.
Yeah, welcome back. You missed me. Yeah, green shirt just wants to argue. Basically, and some might be like, isn't that the point of Surrounded? Like, actually, no, it's not to argue, or at least the point should not be to argue. It should be to discuss the substance of an issue, where you disagree. Let's try to get to the truth of it. But it's just bad faith. And so it's going to get even worse. Breaking K, I do think the Civil War topic is a dead horse. Yeah, but it's like, it's Tim Pool. You got to do the Civil War issue if you got Tim Pool on.
I think that we are getting closer towards a peak of civil unrest in this country. And in all honesty, I'm going to blame people like you. This entire time, you've been trying to blur the line between what separates you and a person like me and everybody in this circle. Okay. The truth is you don't agree. On your show, you have 5 white supremacists around you and 1 liberal lawyer talking about why we should protect the Constitution. On Twitter.
What show? I'm sorry. What show has Tim Pool ever done where he has 5 white supremacists on? What show is that? And that's just go like, how bad faith can you be where you think, I don't know, are you talking about people like, I don't even know, like, it's Jack Posobiec, the white supremacists of your nightmares? I don't know. And you will also notice that at the beginning of this like whole, I don't know, struggle session, he did concede what Tim was trying to say, that, yeah, political violence and polarization is escalating. So on the face of it, this guy agrees with Tim. He just wants to use this time now to publicly shame Tim for his content and shame him for platforming white supremacists.
You're mentioning the Civil War and why we need to have a Civil War 24/7.
Why you're mentioning why we need to have a Civil War. Again, just totally bad faith and a misrepresentation of what Tim Pool actually believes. Tim Pool is not, yes, let's have a civil war. That's prescriptive. That's him saying it's good to have a civil war. That's not what he believes. He is looking at the news that he covers, looking at what experts are saying and saying, hey, I think this means we are tracking to a civil war. Doesn't mean it's a good thing. Like if I say, oh, it looks like a recession is coming, that's not me saying recession good. Let's go recession. I want recession. That is me making an observation about what is happening.
No, you've said Civil War numerous times. slates of screenshots over the last 4 years alone.
Saying that
I'm not
there
done.
will
talking
be
about shooting
one
ivermectin up your ass.
I've never
all the time.
I've never advocated for ivermectin.
You
have literally no idea what you're talking about. You've not done any research, and you've never used Google. I've never advocated for ivermectin, not once.
He's not going to stop talking. You're going to waste.
I've never used it. I never used ivermectin. I said no. You shouldn't use it.
I'm going to get to the point here.
So if you want to make things up,
are you an intellectual or are you too much of a child?
You want to just waste time, then we can waste time. But if you have an actual argument, so if you agree with me on the issue, but you don't like me, then we can agree.
No, I think you're responsible. I think you're responsible.
You can get
an individual like your mouth.
But Tim's right here. Tim is like 100% right here. They're supposed to be debating, is the U.S. on track for civil war? This guy agrees. He wants to sit here and like shame Tim for his content. Well, that's not really what Tim signed up for. Where is the moderator? Well, actually, she's about to kick David off.
You agree.
Yeah, you just don't want to finish. You know where I'm going to go with this.
Do you agree?
You so mistrust the United States institution.
You're allowed to blame me all you want, and then we can agree, and you can leave.
You just want to run away from the conversation?
Are you here to dispute my claim or agree with it?
I think you're responsible.
That's fantastic. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Oh, you don't want to hear why you're responsible?
It doesn't matter because you're here to dispute my claims, right? Not
it doesn't matter. You don't. All of a sudden, you want to stick to the definition of your claims when it comes to just about everything.
Are you supposed to agree with me and sit here and agree with me?
You're not going to stop talking, are you?
Are you going to sit here and agree with me?
Ready to control yourself? You're like 50 years old, bro. Calm down.
Agree with me?
Calm down.
Like, why? This is like, I don't know. This is just gross behavior.
You come down.
I don't agree with you. I disagree with you on everything.
You make fake claims.
Of course I do. If anybody's doing something that they don't actually believe in, it's you because you're getting paid by the country.
In fact, I argued with Joe Rogan on his show. I advocated on Joe Rogan's show against ivermectin.
David, can you please address the claim?
I think America is getting closer to civil war, and it's all because of people like Tim Pool.
Thank you for agreeing with me. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you're a coward, bro.
Well, if you don't agree with me, I don't know why you're here.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, there we go. So anyway, so this guy, like that whole interaction.
Also, I would recommend doing research before you come to a place like this.
If you'd like to be the next debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
And then this guy comes out.
Welcome back.
And then is the clip that has been going viral where Tim Pool gets up. And so the reason why I show you this is because Tim Pool, this is like at 50 minutes. Yeah, 52 minutes into this whole video. For the entire time, Tim is just calm, collected. We're gonna like look at some of the like just regular interactions so you can see Tim is handling himself well. These people are crazy. But yeah, this one clip after he was just dealing with his first aggressive leftist, this next guy does the same thing. I don't blame Tim for walking up and being like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to actually debate the merits of the issue, and I don't want to have to listen to people just complaining about my thumbnails and my titles. Can't win an argument with these people. And I don't even think Tim is like wanting, you can say he doesn't want to win any arguments. He just wants to like, let's talk about the issue. He's trying to be conciliatory. He's ceding common ground. But these people, they just want to attack him. Control domination. Honestly, Tim's passive approach is refreshing. Like actually, like, yes, it is really nice, in my opinion, to watch something where the person is calm, reasonable. They're not trying to just score gotchas. That's Tim for like 99% of this segment. And so seeing like this clip is what's gone viral is like, Tim Pool absolutely demolished all of you folks. And we're going to look at that, but it's just people want the clicks. They want, they want the blood. Ugh. Okay. But let's look now at just, which I watched this and it was like, which one is okay? This guy here. We have like this one guy who's convinced.
All right. If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
You got it. Nice to meet you. How's it going?
Good.
Okay, and so this is part of the segment where Tim is defending the idea that the mainstream left commits more violence than the mainstream right.
I think we should just get to the heart of it. Donald Trump is a fascist. He has Nazis in his administration. His entire messaging was resonating with Nazis from the very beginning. Donald Trump, when rallying for 2024, had a massive rally in Madison Square Garden. What was the significance of that rally?
You tell me.
Yeah, it's the same place, same date as the Nazis in the 1940s. Literally.
So Trump is literally Hitler. He's literally dog whistling Hitler. Like this is most of what Tim was up against. He was much more patient than I would have been.
Donald Trump said that immigrants are poisoning the blood of America and their environment. Who also said that?
You tell me.
Hitler.
Again, this is the most uncharitable, out of context interpretation of Donald Trump criticizing illegal criminal aliens. Now it's just all immigrants. Like, please.
Literally, Donald Trump has openly said things as dog whistles. So you may say that it's not mainstream, but the entire ideology of the right speaks to those people.
Let me ask you, what do you mean by fascist?
Far right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalistic, 14 tenets of fascism, all that.
But there's a specific definition of fascist. Do you just mean that he's an authoritarian?
No, I mean that he meets all 14 tenets of fascism.
Which is what?
You want to go through all 14 points?
I don't. I'm trying to understand your argument. But so my point largely is we see people say Trump is a fascist.
Guy is such a little punk.
But there's, if you go to an academic and you look at fascism, say Italy, there's a common argument that you have the merger of corporation and state as the defining element of what fascism is.
There's different forms of fascism, right?
Well, and that's the point. That's why
the actual premise is the authoritarian. Donald Trump is absolutely a fascist. He's, like I said, he has Nazis in his administration. I think we're shifting. Pete Hegseth.
How is Hegseth?
Pete Hegseth, by the way, is not a Nazi.
Tattoo on his chest.
He does not.
Stephen Miller is absolutely a Nazi. Stephen Miller
does not have a Nazi tattoo on his chest.
Yeah, Stephen Miller, the Jewish guy, is a Nazi. Like, why? Like, no, like, can we just like laugh at these people and then move on? And Pete Hegseth too. Everybody's a Nazi.
No, he does not. He has a Catholic cross on his chest.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I mean, guys, look, I went to Catholic school when I was little. I left in fifth grade. So Pete Hegseth is not a Nazi.
Yeah, that's okay, cool.
What do you mean? Not just okay, cool. Retract that. You've just called Stephen Miller and Pete Hegseth Nazis baselessly. Retract that. Like, no, it's not a Nazi tattoo. It's a cross. Retract that. Oh, thank you, J-Dog Tribute. He subscribed on Prime. He subscribed on Twitch with Prime. Big thank you. Really appreciate the support. Helps make these streams possible. And by the way, I am toying. I usually stream for 2 hours because that's kind of like a middle ground between what a podcast or regular stream might be and then kind of what streamers do, which is longer. I'm thinking about just leaning into streaming specifically. To be like totally upfront with you guys, Rumble have not grown at all. I don't know what's happening with Rumble. These are not great on Rumble, but there's been awesome love and just growth from like Kick, Twitch, and X for the streaming. So I might lean into it and we just make the show 3 hours. What do you guys think about that? With that, would you watch? Is there even value in that? I know usual streamers like they do like 5-8 hours. I'm still a lot less than that with 3, but is that I don't know. I'm thinking about it. So let me know whether you'd be interested in that, or you're just like, and I have enough Lauren opinions. Thank you. I would also understand that. More Lauren, always a win. Dandy Snake, I'll watch. Okay. Faceless Poundy Hunter. Rumble is the boomer people. We only use Rumble to watch. Nick. Oh, we love our Rumble folks. Okay. New Redneck, Redacted 987, Inevitable China, Axel Foley. We love our Rumble peeps. But it's just a smaller audience. So I'm kind of wondering, like, should I bother tailoring the content format, which would be like shorter, for I guess a place where there's less opportunity to growth. The New Redneck, Lauren, what service is best for us to watch you on? I mean, as a creator, I'm trying to be where you guys are, right? I feel like it's not your job to be inconvenienced trying to watch me. The onus is on me to try to be everywhere for you guys. So it's wherever it makes most sense for you. I kind of, I'm liking like Twitch and Kick, but if you're on Rumble, that's fine too. Heck, if you are one of the 3 people watching on Facebook, I also love you. I'm sorry, 4 people on Facebook. We appreciate you. Yeah, the Rumble video, the UI on Rumble is not good. It's basically 2006 YouTube. I'm sorry. I love the free speech approach to Rumble, but it's not. New Redneck on, and now he's on Twitch on all the services. That's awesome. Rumble is just not great in terms of its UI. But that's let's continue. Like, see, I would have been more aggressive than Tim here, and I'm, a girl, but Tim is absolutely like looking like the winner here. But of course, they don't want to clip this.
Question for you: when Donald Trump and his administration specifically actually implement policies that go at the heart of what Nazis want,
Which
right?
is?
Targeting.
Which is what?
The first group of people they target was the transgender community. Same things in Nazi.
Okay, whoa. Okay, Donald Trump doesn't want males in women's sports. He doesn't want medical intervention to switch genders for minors. Therefore, literally Hitler. This is what this guy is saying. Therefore, literally Hitler. You know who else wanted universal health care? Hitler and stuff. Like, therefore, guys, what is this level of argument? Something is not necessarily automatically bad just because the Nazis also did it. And to be clear, so no one can like clip this, Hitler was also a vegetarian. Doesn't mean that being a vegetarian is bad. Hitler made the trains run on time. That doesn't mean wanting the trains to run on time is bad. Like, let's be very clear. When people bring up Hitler and everyone's like, what we're talking about is political violence and persecution. Okay, that's what makes Hitler bad. But if you're trying to liken like what Trump is doing to something totally irrelevant to that, like, yeah, getting males out of female sports when it comes to colleges, then I'm sorry, what are you doing? What are you doing?
The actual Nazis specifically targeted people that weren't like them. There's been a persistent and consistent attack on.
Yeah, Donald Trump is against illegal immigrants. And so using the most vague definition, he's targeting people who aren't like him. That's also what Hitler did. Spoiler alert, the reason why Hitler was bad isn't because he was trying like to stop all the people who were trying to come into Germany. It's not like Hitler was like faced with all of these people who were trying to flood Nazi Germany. He was like, no, guys, you have to stop. We can't take this many of you. That's not what Hitler was doing. Oh my goodness. The amount of reach is insane. And see, like this would be a time where it would be appropriate for you guys to use the shrill emote because I am once again realizing I have been yelling. We're calm. We're collected. We are zen like Tim Pool.
Undocumented immigrants, black people, women, anyone that's not a straight white
black
male
people?
in America.
What has Donald Trump done to black people? Like literally, what has Donald Trump loves the black community, actually, like to a fault. His campaign was so focused on trying to get the black vote. It was ridiculous because like it's not worth throwing them these bones for I don't know. At 5% of it's not worth it. Just cater to your base, the people who actually show up and vote for you. Oh my goodness. But yeah, see, like Tim is just like he's being calm. And for that, the left is gonna like crucify him for it. It's not worth being nice to these people. I'm increasingly learning, which is too bad. Like hashtag not all. There were some people, some of the leftist guys too, on the debate panel that we did who were like fair and calm, but is this type of thing. It's just so tiring.
America.
My principal claim is not that Donald Trump is innocent, nor perfect, nor good. My claim is that when you look at street level violence, domestic terror, etc., you'll find more violence coming from the mainstream left as opposed to the mainstream right.
Sure.
I do think it's fair to point out white supremacists are violent. They do evil and horrible things.
Yeah, I wanted to get.
Nirvana rules. What about the Hispanic communities? Don't a lot of them love Trump? Yeah, like actually 100%. There are like majority Hispanic districts that have gone for Trump. Hispanics are a lot, I guess, a lot less homogenous in their political views than the black community. Especially like if you look at the Cubans in Florida.
We all condemn that.
The white supremacists are a part of the mainstream right.
Well, they're not.
They literally are.
There's no circumstance where you can.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just crazy. You know, actually, I'm gonna make a clip of this guy saying everyone's a Nazi, and then that can go viral and people can see like, hang on, no, Tim was not being unreasonable here. He actually had way more patience than anyone else would have. He's actually got the patience of a saint. So anyway, debate is usually fake and gay. Moral of the story. But on a similar note, not exactly the same note, but on a similar note, actually, hang on, really quick. I have this here from Steven Crowder. He had Tim Pool on to discuss that debate. So, okay, we're going to talk about the aftermath of Andrew Wilson versus Candace Owens. But before we do that, let's look at, I guess, debate recap with Tim Pool and Steven Crowder. Snow Lucy, would you do one of these 20v1? I mean, abstract, if it's things that I actually care about, like when we did that debate panel with the walkaway, it ended up just the leftists being like, Trump this, Trump that. Again, I'm not Caroline Leavitt. My job is not to defend the Republican Party or Donald Trump. There are things that they've done that I disagree with. I'm very skeptical and cynical of like a lot of politicians. So if a bunch of leftists are like, I'm going to yell about Trump and Republicans, I'm like, okay, that's nice. Have fun with that. So if it's that, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm also not interested in having to deal with like these rude douchebags who are aggressive for no reason. And unfortunately, that's what most of this is. I've had people ask, like, oh, do you want to debate like X, Y, or Z issue? And it's also just, if I'm not that passionate about it, the answer is also no. So like in theory, yes, but in practice, probably not, because you see what kind of stuff Tim has to deal with, these bad faith actors. Yeah, Cringe and Gay does about cover it. Geppetto, Lauren versus 20 women wearing barrel jeans. That I would, okay? I told Lauren Southern, like, if you want to debate whether the Odyssey is good or not, I will go there, okay? I would also love to do, like, in an ideal world, a reality TV show where I take incels and, like, these feminists, and I give them makeovers. There's not really like a political underscore or like undertone for that. I just think a lot of people who complain about society, it's actually that they're unhappy with themselves and not taking care of themselves, and that they would feel a lot more confident and happier if they just engaged in like a little bit of maintenance, eat better, exercise, take care of yourself. You know, you're not entitled to positive male or female attention. And you know, you don't need to like try to dismantle the patriarchy just because you weigh 200 pounds and have like hairy armpits. Just lose some weight, cut your hair, fix your eyebrows. The world will be a better place. Yeah. Make them go camping together, like a dating show. Incels and like crazy feminists, we give them all makeovers, put them out on like an island. Maybe they find love. It would be tasteful, not like Love Island trashy. It would be tasteful. We should crowdfund that. Okay, but here we go. Tim Pool and Steven Crowder.
Let me ask you, Tim Pool, did you in fact rage quit? Is that how you would describe it from the Flipper kid?
No. I don't know why. I don't know what the context of Steven Crowder being French is here.
No, I mean, a rage quit would be I'm flabbergasted, I'm stuttering, I have nothing to say, and I have to storm off. But you know, it's funny if you watch it. I think I asked him, can I ask you a question, like 6 times? Mm-hmm. And he just won't stop. So here's the other thing. I had expressed to at least some of the people there, if anybody wants to do a stunt like they did with Ben Shapiro, I'm going to get up and walk off.
Yeah, I mean, you're not there to help them clout farm and just drive clicks. I think that's totally fair. Yeri on Twitch, are you Asian? I am half Chinese on my dad's side. I'm one of the Asian dad Weisians. Yeah. Lauren for dictator. I would be a benevolent dictator, okay? It would be like Singapore, you know? Are you free to go around graffitiing? No. Will I like basically get the beat down on you if you try to litter? Yes. But it would be a calm, prosperous society. Increasingly, this is what I want from politics. Like I want some Lee Kuan Yew action.
Like forewarning, this is not me. Oh no, like the show's over. It was basically like my mentality is when that trans man just berated Ben and Ben just sat there. You create a clip that goes viral on the left, and what does Ben get for being there? And so I said, I'll get up and leave so that the clip's going to go both ways, right?
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and just tolerate a guy screaming in my face.
Right.
He's going to get his viral clip no matter what he does. I'm going to get mine too. And so I would describe the whole thing as very WWE-esque in that there's a general understanding this is made for TV. It's not really a debate.
Yes, I think that's well said by Tim. Like, and you know, like, once again, I disagreed with what a lot Tim was conceding and saying because he is a moderate. He's further left than I am. But still, he came across as reasonable. Yakiniku 119, will your dad's movie reviews come back? Yes. So we did together do an Odyssey review. We want to see Brand New Day. We haven't had a chance to. It's probably too late for us to review that by the time we see it. But yes, definitely like when there's something kind of like another Odyssey moment, Papa Chen will be back. And actually, I have more Papa Chen content coming. That's not movie review related. I've got the Chen's Eat on TikTok and Instagram, which is going to be like us doing food videos. So when we were in Vegas, we went to some buffets, and I should have worked on that today, but like I'm trying to edit those myself because I have like a vision of what I want them to look. So I'm not going to just give them to my editor, but yeah, we love Papa Chen. Okay. So yeah, props to Tim for not having a heart attack, dealing with all of that. But now let us turn to the Candace Owens Andrew Wilson aftermath. So you guys, this past Friday, Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson had their much anticipated, highly hyped debate over the Charlie Kirk case. And this is something that Andrew Wilson had been pushing for quite a while. And to the extent that he actually paid Candace Owens, I think like the money was already transferred, $300,000 to have this happen. And a lot of people were very excited about it. I mean, when I was watching it on Candace's channel live, I think at peak there was like 250,000 live viewers, and that's not even counting the people who are watching live on PBD's show or on the Crucible Andrew's platform, or on like Steven Crowder's show, because he was doing a live reaction to it. So this was a really big moment. They ended up debating, kind of like there were two parts to the debate. The first part of it was when they were debating Tyler Robinson's supposed alleged guilt. And like I said, I agree with Andrew that I would say I'm like 75% sure that Tyler Robinson is the person who killed Charlie. But it was also interesting to hear Candace talk about all of the things that are strange about that case. Okay. Degradation of Tyler Robinson's DNA on the gun. Other people's DNA is more, I guess, less degraded, things like that. The text messages, which sounded like a little bit unnatural. So it was interesting, right? And Candace did a good job. Like, I can concede there are things about the Tyler Robinson case that are a little bit questionable. Does that mean I'm comfortable saying he's 0% guilty like she is? No. But, she had clearly done her homework. Second part of the case is where Andrew Wilson kind of talked about, okay, you've not just been saying that I'm not sure if Tyler Robinson did it. Andrew admitted that if it were just that, he probably wouldn't feel the need to debate you. It was also that he took issue with all the other accusations Candace was kind of making about people like Erica Kirk, TPUSA, Israel, France. And this is where I think the first part, I think Candace Owens did better than I think Andrew Wilson even expected. I think he kind of expected that she would just be kind of like this crazy true crime lady, but she clearly knew a lot about the case. The second part, I think Andrew did a good job where he like flat out asked her, what is your positive evidence? Like not just a suspicion or a feeling, but what makes you believe that Israel or France is connected to this case? She didn't really have anything concrete. She also put her feet to the fire. Like, do you think that Erica Kirk and TPUSA like were actively, like they had foreknowledge, they conspired to murder Charlie, all of that? And she said she didn't want to get into it, which is kind of like, okay, well, that's, people who watch her show, she covers them so much and says like they are complicit, but she clarified like, oh no, I think they're complicit in the cover. Or no, she thinks Erica Kirk is complicit in pushing the state's narrative that Tyler Robinson did it, that Candace Owens does not believe in. It's like, okay, but that's not what most people would assume when you say she is complicit. So in any case, Yaki Niku 119, I dislike Andrew's debate tactics. So Andrew, he's always a very smart guy. I agree with him a lot. He is somewhat of a sophist. If you watched his debates, and he can, depending on the situation, be quite aggressive. Not always. I think he's perfectly capable of being respectful. But, there are some cases where he comes off as abrasive. And that's something that I took issue with him at first. Since then, I've watched a lot more of his content. He's kind of warmed on me. And like I said, I don't think you can deny, if you like him or not, disagree with him or not, that he's a smart guy. But, yeah, there are a lot of people who are put off by him. But let's go over, I guess, one of the bigger moments that's circulating on social media that we didn't go through on the Friday stream. Thank you, the Raven99, a Rumble rant. Thank you, good sir. There's a clip of the CEO of Jubilee talking about Nick potentially going on Jubilee. Oh yeah, okay. So let's look at that. Actually, I did want to share that. That was like literally in my little folder of like things to share, but I didn't end up doing it. So Nick Fuentes has never gone on a Jubilee episode. Nick Fuentes would be, I think, very interesting on one of these Jubilee episodes. But here we have the founder, like the Raven said, talking about why they don't want to have Nick on.
Right. someone like a Nick Fuentes is a good example. We've never had Nick Fuentes on. That's not for lack of interest necessarily from Nick, but it is something the question becomes, if what I said is true, which is we want to have on.
Sorry, Wilson's an a-hole, but I think that's an asset regarding debating. I mean, if it's someone like David, then yeah, throw an Andrew Wilson at him and you guys have fun. But it's just, I don't want that to have to be the case. Does that make sense? Anyway, so apparently Nick has expressed interest to Jubilee in doing one of these.
Honest conversation. And just because we have someone on is not us. So there's no thumb on the scale, right? Jubilee is not saying, hey, because we have this perspective on that, we're validating that viewpoint necessarily. We're creating the circumstance where these conversations are happening. Yeah. At what point does a viewpoint become big enough or a perspective become big enough that we need to hold it to account?
Right.
And I don't know. And we haven't had Nick on, but
would you?
Right now we haven't. And I think there's a reason why.
Yeah.
I think that is a question we have to continue to ask ourselves of where, not just Nick, but there's several people I think that we think about of where does that line exist? Again, there's no universal line. And also it constantly is shifting.
Do you have, I mean, I know your colleague, John Regalado told The Atlantic that internally you've actually debated whether to do like Holocaust survivors versus Holocaust deniers. And he'd be willing to see that conversation happen. You said you wouldn't.
I absolutely would not. Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, so it's interesting. Like, obviously, this is presented as like, oh, debate. We don't take it aside, but you kind of do. Like, there's still leftists who are operating under the, oh, if we platform this idea, it's almost like we're co-signing it, which I don't think is the case. Now, they don't have to do any topic they don't want to. They don't have to invite anyone on that they don't want to. But ignoring Nick Fuentes, when you've had someone like Jordan Peterson, like Tim Pool, all these other issues, it kind of does seem like you're trying to like enforce the Overton window. These are the acceptable ideas we will talk about and nothing over there, which again, is their prerogative. It is their platform. I think obviously would get millions of views and they wouldn't even need to do it like Nick Fuentes versus leftists. They could, I think would be really interesting would be Nick Fuentes versus establishment Republicans. That could just be like a total W for the left. You could be like, hey, it's right on right debating. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen though. Yeah. Nick versus 20 Republicans or Nick versus 20 women's. Oh my gosh. Okay. So for the substance, I would love to see Nick versus 20 Republicans. For the entertainment value, for the clips, for the unabashed blood sports that I actually maybe in this case would enjoy, Nick versus 20 women would be very interesting. Wretch, disappointed in the debate. I wanted to know more about the Egyptian planes and Charlie Kirk time. They didn't get into the Egyptian planes, did they? I don't think they did. But in any case, so there was one clip that Candace supporters are kind of using as like this, Candace won, W Queen. It's when Andrew Wilson could not name the specific charges that Tyler Robinson was facing.
Yeah, I'm fine with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just, if I may ask a question, which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler?
Sorry. Would you debate Hassan, Lauren? It depends on what, I guess. Then I know that I don't mean that to be a cop out, but yeah, it depends on what. Like, am I going to debate him on whether 9/11 was a good idea or not, whether America deserved it or not? That's something that I very much don't believe is true, that he clearly does. But, I don't know if I want to spend 2 hours of my life explaining to a sociopath why it's actually never deserved for you to target and kill 3,000 civilians, even if you don't like America's foreign policy. If it's something about like crime or immigration, that's something that I'm like lately more and more interested in. So maybe, but yeah, I guess it always depends on the issue. Or like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like most of the DSA, Democratic Socialists. It's funny because, Hassan loves China. I've said this before, but all of the things that China does that make their form of socialism with Chinese characteristics viable, Hassan opposes in America, right? You can't just have open immigration in China. Obviously, they know that that's not going to work. You can't just have people not working for free and like getting stuff. That's not going to work. So China doesn't allow that. You don't just allow crime. Jeff H927, weren't you on a group debate with Hassan at a Politicon? Oh my gosh, you remember that? Yes. Yes, I was. Oh, it's just, sorry. It's just like, that was a long time ago. So it's cool that you remember that. Yes, I was. I don't remember what the topics were because this was, I mean, probably like 8 years ago at this point. And also it was Charlie Kirk, me and Hassan and some other people. So obviously a debate with Charlie Kirk and Hassan Piker, people like me were not getting a lot of words in edgewise. Yeah. Okay, so got distracted by you guys. Let's look at this clip of Candace. I think at the very least getting some points against Andrew
Robinson
Wilson.
is guilty of.
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah. Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course.
But
I want to make sure that we have them
thank
listed.
you.
Yeah, but like,
so
that's,
cool.
Can you
So
name
cool
one?
around
Because
this
my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following
Is that
the case.
it? That's the
Yeah.
question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty like if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty. I just think that you should. Like,
right.
Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the
charge
counter.
that he's.
You can really hang on. This is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the
this
question.
Is fair.
Can
name
you
all
name,
7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You
Go
name
ahead.
you name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like
name all 7.
And I
can you name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries.
Okay, so now what the internet is debating is this a gotcha? Does this make Andrew Wilson look bad? Nirvana rules who's going to name all 7 charges on the top of their head as if they are a lawyer. Well, I mean, apparently Candace. So does this matter? Andrew Wilson and his supporters say, like, the optics, Andrew has conceded that the optics don't look good. You should be able to know it, but that in terms of the material topic, whether Tyler Robinson killed him, that's not the same thing as what charges he's currently facing. But it does, I think Candace was showing that he doesn't have the same level of investment that she does in the case. Yeah, Wretch, this is irrelevant. She got her clips for her low IQ followers. So sort of a win. And that's kind of how I would feel. So did Andrew lose this debate because he didn't know the charges? No, I don't think so. Like, it was obvious what they were arguing, whether Tyler Robinson is the person who shot and killed Charlie Kirk, evidence for or against it. Does it still not look good that he didn't know any of the 7 charges? Yes, because it reeks of a lack of familiarity with the case. So that's kind of like what I think about there. Winter Soldier murder, you killed him. Aggravated murder, you were angry when you killed him. Well, the distinction that people who support Candace are trying to make is that murder versus aggravated murder matters because, one, it carries the death sentence. Electronic Man, considering Andrew had all the facts on his side, he did a terrible job presenting it. I honestly was surprised at how well Candace defended her knowledge of the case. And I think Andrew Wilson probably was as well. But yes, so everything I've seen, people are split, frankly, about who won this debate. It seems like, and this is usually the case, people who supported Candace going into this support Candace. People who supported Andrew going into this support him. Yeah. The new redneck, I do wish he would have asked her clear and directed questions and not let her just say, I feel as a cop out. I feel he actually, he did clarify, you feel, but there's no positive evidence. So aside from your intuition, which you're allowed to have, there's no actual evidence that someone with would look at and say, you're right, this clearly connects Israel to Charlie's murder or Erica's. I think he definitely won the second part of this, which I think was what he cared about more, honestly, was trying to unravel what evidence, if any, Candace had supporting the idea that Israel, Erica Kirk, and TPUSA are all connected to the murder. Okay, and Jimmy Dore, he seems to be someone of a Candace supporter. He says, here's the most damning part of Andrew Wilson's disastrous Candace Owens debate. Here he 100% contradicts himself and unwittingly reveals he doesn't believe anything he's saying and it's all a con. Andrew's opening statement, I think it's ghoulish to profit off the death of a good man. He then reads a text he says Charlie Kirk sent the night before in which Charlie says he's afraid the left is going to kill him. Quote. And yeah, that was part of the debate. Andrew revealed a never before seen text from Charlie where he clarifies that who he thought was going to kill him, which like Candace has shown that he had sent that message to other people. But in this new text message that Andrew purports to have, he specifies that he thinks it's the left. He's asked to show the text to the audience, but Andrew refuses, but says he's going to show it on his show. When asked why he won't show it to the audience during the debate, but only show it on his own show, he says, you got to drip out that evidence to keep people coming back to the show. So he unwillingly, I think he was doing that facetiously because that's what Candace does. But I mean, whether he acknowledges that it's kind of the same thing or not, Jimmy Dore makes a good point. I've never supported the idea that what Candace is doing is wrong because it profits off of Charlie's death. We are content creators. Like, we can't address something without it also profiting off of the issue at hand. Does that mean we are just doing it for grifts? Does that mean no one can talk about Charlie Kirk's murder at all because you might also profit off of it? I mean, arguably Andrew is doing a similar thing here. But I don't think it's, I don't know. That's not a compelling reason to criticize Candace, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. Yeah, Redacted 987, Andrew was trolling Candace. Dore missed that. Yeah, I do think Andrew was kind of knowingly trolling there. Oh, Anthony Ponza, we have a Facebook chatter. Hello. I don't see what the difference it makes what the charges are. Exact charges are relevant in court. Outside of the courtroom, it's irrelevant as to whether or not he shot Charlie Kirk. And that's I would agree with that. Does it look good that Andrew couldn't name them? No. Does it change the substance of the debate that they had just had? Also, no. Okay, so yeah, here's Andrew saying he will unveil tons of evidence, including the text message.
Now, this Friday,
So
I'm going to unveil tons of evidence. Stu Peters is fucking done. His whole Fort Huachuca fucking bullshit, I'm going to completely refute that. I have irrefutable evidence that that's not the case. Literally couldn't be the case. It's impossible. He's done. All this fucking guy had to ever do was just reach it. He could have figured it out in 5 minutes if he was just a slightly good faith. And in good faith had just reached out to try to figure out what actually happened. Nope, can't do that. No money in that. Not a dime in that.
Anyway, so I guess this is still going on. People have also highlighted the discrepancy between words between Candace and Andrew. Candace Owens, almost 14,000 words. Andrew Wilson, just over 5,000 words. Candace Owens, no evidence to defend claims, walked back claims, pleaded the fifth. Andrew Wilson defended his claims. Here's Candace addressing Andrew not being able to name the charges. She says, the craziest part is this really wasn't supposed to be a gotcha, hence me asking which one. I felt he severely wasted viewers' time with the painful Erica White knighting, and I actually wanted to debate him on the substance of Utah's law regarding the aggravating factor. Then I realized, oh, wait, wow, this man literally does not even know what Tyler Robinson was charged with, and this is who TPUSA brought in to debate train their students. And yeah, Candace has been alleging that Andrew is kind of being put forward by TPUSA. TPUSA has denied this, as has Andrew. And Andrew says that every AI source will say I won. This was never in question. Specific AI programs will also say so. The polls are simply a reflection of who has the larger audience post-debate. During the debate, I won those too. It's not hard to understand. I would give this debate to Andrew, but I would say that Candace held her own and raised issues that I wasn't aware of during the first half of the debate. Yeah. Mectronic Man, I'm sure they backed the 300K. I can't see him having that money. Yeah, I mean, he is trying to crowdfund for it. So if you want to help ease Andrew's financial burden for making this happen, they have a GoFundMe. But also if you want to support a GoFundMe, you can support my GoFundMe for my legal fees. That's also a GoFundMe that's out there. GiveSendGo.com/Lauren Chen. Sorry, I don't mean to bring my stuff in. Actually, speaking of money, I will pause here to give a quick thank you. I'm going to do like a clean transition so we can put it in the clips. Sorry. I'm going to pause here to give a quick thank you to today's sponsor, Cacao Bliss. So hang on. Oh my gosh, I'm just hurting. Okay. Take 3. Gonna pause here to give a quick thank you to today's sponsor, Cacao Bliss. You guys know this is what I have been drinking every single morning. This is basically a health supplement that tastes like hot chocolate. So it tastes like a treat, but it's actually good for you. And this is empty because I have mine in here. Lovely. Smells like cinnamon and chocolate. Anyway, really nice little case. And you basically you put a scoop in this into your milk, into like any type of oat milk, or into your coffee if you want a mocha vibe. And it's something that's good for you, ties your sweet tooth over, but will actually give you health benefits. So there are only 2 foods on the planet with a specific compound that keeps your arteries young, your stem cells high, and your metabolism working the way it did when you were younger. One is black truffles, which are great, but not really delicious, not really a sweet treat. The other tastes like hot chocolate. This is what I'm all about. Researchers have spent decades studying why a tribe in Panama had virtually no heart problems, okay? No age-related weight gain and cardiovascular health that defied everything we know about aging. The answer kept coming back to this one compound. It's called epicatechin. Oh my goodness. And it's found in, you guessed it, chocolate. But the problem is that the chocolate that you have in supermarkets, it's overcooked, processed to all heck, and chemically stripped of this special compound. And that's why I've been drinking raw ceremonial cacao, aka real actual chocolate, which keeps the epicatechin fully intact. Cacao Bliss from Earth Echo is the one I've been drinking because it also has 7 organic superfoods. It tastes like the hot chocolate you'd get at a 5-star hotel. If you're into like the Mexican hot chocolate with a little bit of cinnamon, that's exactly what this tastes like. It also doesn't need any sweeteners, and I say that as someone who does not like dark chocolate really. So you can learn more and get your special discount and free shipping today at trycacaobliss.com/Lauren. Again, that is trycacaobliss.com/Lauren. And a big thank you to Cacao Bliss for sponsoring this stream. All right. What's your favorite chocolate bar? Oh, gosh. Kinder Bueno, the one with like the Nutella. 100%. It's also light. I'm not super into like really heavy and dark chocolates. So Kinder Bueno, it's like got a hazelnut cream inside, thin layer of chocolate that's crispy. 100% Kinder Bueno. I've been a long time stan. The one with toys people choke on, no, that's a Kinder Surprise. That's the egg that has a little toy inside of it. But no, Kinder Bueno, they're little bars. It comes with 2 in a pack. Same company though. Have you tried the white Kinder Bueno? No, I have not. And this, I'm going to say something some might say is heretical, but usually I actually prefer white chocolate to dark chocolate, which is why I was surprised that I like this stuff, because usually I find dark chocolate too bitter, but this is not bitter at all. Yeah. Okay. Now though, okay, we've done the Candace Owens as well. And like, for all of the debate over this debate, I think the debate itself was actually really well done. They remained calm. Clearly some adversarial moments, but it wasn't anything like the Jubilee thing, right? So, I mean, I think Candace and Andrew both handled themselves quite well. So good on them. Okay, now let's talk about, let's do Jason Arday. So Jason Arday, we've covered him previously. He was the young Black man who was, I think, the youngest Black professor, whatever, at Cambridge University. And so he had this almost unbelievable origin story where he couldn't talk until he was like 11. He couldn't read until he was 18, but he had all of these amazing feats. So much so, he was like hyped up beyond reproach that he ended up, gaining this prestigious role in Cambridge University. The people around him, the white liberal academics, were all hyping him up. He had several TV specials. He was actually given a book deal by Simon & Schuster, I believe it was, to talk about his life story. But it turns out a lot of what he said was BS, just unverified. And actually a lot of the supposed academic work that he was doing that was so highly praised was plagiarized. But no one had called it out for the longest time. It actually took like an outsider to say, hang on, this doesn't make sense, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with academia, you haven't gone to like college or above specifically, plagiarism in these people's minds is basically the worst thing you could do. I'm not even kidding. They would say like, yes, murder is bad, but plagiarism, okay, wow. Hold on there. Okay. It's really serious in academia. All of these people have, let's face it, are their ideas. They're certainly not paid a lot. And so stealing ideas without, no attribution, it's really serious. So the fact that Jason Arday was doing all this plagiarism and had never been called out on it, I think does speak to, at the very least, a double standard. And that's just beyond the fact that he was also claiming to have worked at places that had no record of him, things that could have been verified very easily online. So once this came to light, obviously a lot of people were calling out like how ridiculous it was that no one had found this out. And also like if he had been a white man, he wouldn't have gone that far with those lies. Okay. Is Jason Arday the only person to kind of pad out the resume a little bit? No, of course not. Like, oh yeah, I'm proficient in Excel. That's not unusual. But what's unusual is the extent to which he was embellishing things and the extent to which clearly no one was checking up on anything he was saying. Probably because he was Black. It seems like these liberals were so keen to have a token Black that they were, not bothering to do any of the usual verification that they otherwise would have. But the news that we have gotten over this weekend is actually, tragically, Jason Arday has been reported dead. Now, police haven't released a lot of details, but they have clarified that there's no suspicion of foul play, which has led people to say like, oh, he either unalived himself. Sorry to use that TikTok term, but I don't want the algo to get mad at me. Or, and this is something that I think is not being talked about enough as a potential cause of death. Perhaps he overdosed, right? Perhaps going through everything, he was trying to self-medicate and it went wrong. He does leave behind a wife and I think at least one kid. He was a father. And so this is awful for them. Like this weekend for those people, for his family, was probably one of the worst weekends of their lives, especially any kids. Prayers go out to the family. That's a terrible thing. Now, though, what people are starting to blame the right for is his death. So to be clear, Jason Arday, from everything we know, he either unalived himself, maybe there was an OD, he was trying to self-medicate. But according to the left now, this is the right wing's fault. Why? Well, because you criticized him for it. Kutring on Twitch, his death was caused by racism, don't you know? Unironically, this is what some people are saying. Yeah, this is what some people are saying. Yeah, Dan9847, how his boss hasn't been sacked is beyond me as well, right? Like you let this crazy person, and like obviously, I think if you're lying to this extent about your history, there probably is some sort of mental illness thing. Like, yeah, like I said, it's not unusual for people to embellish, to pad out the resume. But the claims he is making, it kind of speaks to me, I'm assuming some sort of personality disorder, like mental health issue, unironically. 5-star only. Isn't Cambridge the Harvard of the UK? Yes, this is one of the most prestigious universities, not just in the UK, but I would go so far as to say in the world. And they were not checking up on him at all. But now he's tragically died. And, I don't like what he did, but I think it's a tragedy when human life is lost. But let's be real. He didn't need to do this. I've gone through worse. At the end of the day, this looks bad. It's a media scandal. He wasn't going to go to jail for anything. He didn't have his assets frozen, which are all things that I've experienced. Never crossed my mind for a second, especially as a mother, to off myself. I everything he's gone through, I've been through and worse. Doesn't mean that suicide would have been justified. Okay, but now people are using his death to make the right. Like they're responsible. Dr. Sholamos Shagbamimu. I'm sorry, I don't mean that to be a microaggression, but that's just like, that is a whole jumble of letters. She says, this is a public execution. You hounded Jason Arday to death. He could have logged off. Bro could have logged off. He did not need to leave his children fatherless. That is 100% something on him. You murdered him. You killed him. I warned you. I knew this is exactly what you all wanted with your racism masked as accountability. What? Your white supremacist bloodthirsty lust to destroy DEI masked as a public execution. Shame on you. No, okay. Jason Arday, period, is responsible for his own actions and his own death. If we are going to extend blame further, which I don't think we need to, but if we are going to, then you know who's actually culpable? The people who enabled him for so long, the people who allowed this to happen, for this to reach the heights that it did. Okay, this would not have been such a scandal if it was like, oh, hang on, this like PhD student, applicant, whatever, some plagiarism, smack him down. That wouldn't have been a news story. Okay, their negligence, their brown nosing, their commitment to woke ideology, like at the expense of everything else, these leftists, they are the ones who turned this into something bigger than it needed to be. And they are one, like, if we are going to be pointing the fingers at anyone beside Jason himself, it absolutely should be him. Erica sees all Arday scammed millions over the years. He did it to himself. I'm not familiar with what he's like. I mean, he was getting professional like promotions for this. So yeah, he was profiting financially from the lies that he told. Breaking K, he did something shameful. He was shamed by it, and he took the easy way out. Yes. Nirvana rules. So ignore any of the wrongdoing that he did because a black man died because he was found out for his BS. The historical victim complex needs to end. Yes. And you know what? Fair enough. Like, I understand if we need to have a conversation about how we, like the media pylons that happened, that can also lead to things like death threats. There was a newspaper in Canada when reporting on me where like they not only were trying to dox my family members, but also where they lived. Okay. 100%. Let's have a discussion about press accountability when it comes to that stuff. Because you're basically, you know what you're doing if you're a journalist. You're like, oh, they live there. This is their family. I wonder if anyone's going to say anything to them. Like you can kick rocks. I don't support that. But if the right was just criticizing him, that's fair game. Obviously, if there were death threats, that's wrong. We condemn entirely. But these people want to try to make him into the victim because his lies were found out.
This is exactly what you wanted to achieve. I told you. I knew you wanted to kill him or get him killed. I hope you are all satisfied now. Every single one of you bloody evil racist, you white supremacist waste of freaking human space.
So we can't even call out a black person's lies, otherwise we're racist. So, you know, the left kills Charlie Kirk. Well, that's the right's fault for being racist. Leftist kills himself. Oh, that's also the right's fault for pointing out his lies. So basically any violence that happens, it's our fault. It's the right's fault.
Those of you who jumped on this bandwagon to publicly execute him for what?
Publicly execute him. Insane. This is insane.
Who held him to a different standard that you hold white people?
I'm pretty sure it's a universal standard that plagiarism is bad and you shouldn't just make up stuff about your life because you think it'll help you get a job. That's a standard and that's why people are calling out this story, because there is zero chance if Jason Arday had just been like a white, straight Christian man that no one would have called him out on his BS. Yeah, tragic, but everything that happened was by his own actions. Why do these people always blame everything but themselves? Find Jesus.
All get exactly what you deserve. Every single thing you did in this last 2 weeks, every single one of you that took pleasure and glee, this is exactly what you wanted. You wanted to kill him?
No. Okay, I'm sorry. This is just total Uno reverse. Like, oh, actually, it's your fault. It's not. Keith Woods with great take. By the way, if you don't follow Keith Woods on X, I recommend you do. He also has a a Substack, but he was recently deplatformed basically from like payment processors. So he still has a subscribe star. So shout out to Keith Woods. Follow him, support him if you care to. He says, this guy was set up for a massive public humiliation because despite being a serial plagiarist with multiple learning disabilities, supposedly, the system lifted him up into a position he did not deserve because he was black. If only someone had the integrity to call out his fraud earlier, he might have been spared this fate. How shameful for all involved. Amazing take. Exactly. 100%. Yeah. Common Keith Woods W. I agree. Yeah, and by the way, for reference, some of his claims are he ran 600 miles in 6 days, near world record ultra feat, later revised to 12 days with rest, completed 30 marathons in 35 days, including the last 9 after fracturing his leg and having an epileptic fit. Personally raised $5 million for 70 to 80 charities, later said it was a 100-person syndicate. Featured in the 7 Up documentary series, which started in 1964. He was born in 1985. BBC says he had nothing to do with it. Installed water points in South America and West Africa with WaterAid charity. We don't send volunteers abroad. Authored the book Being Young, Black and Male. Palgrave, it was only a proposal, never published. Severed pig's head delivered to his parents' house and knife threats at Cambridge. Met police, no investigation took place. Multiple visiting professorships, Glasgow, Ohio State, etc. And a master's from Birkbeck that the universities say don't exist. The youngest Black professor at Cambridge. Origin story is full of claims that keep falling apart under basic fact checking. It is not unreasonable or racist to point this out. Yeah. C. Warner 312 guy might go down as most pathological liar ever. I think this is like, I'm not being hyperbolic. This to me speaks like some sort of personality disorder. Lying this often to this extent, lies that would be very easily debunked. I think this was a guy who probably could have used some mental health help. But instead of actually holding him accountable and maybe getting him the help he needed, he was just enabled. He was just enabled. Yeah. Yeah, he said that he could not speak until 11. Arday's former classmates, this community note says, say he could speak normally as a child. So, Kay Burley, I was desperately sad to hear of the death of Jason Arday. I interviewed him in 2023 when he told me about his extraordinary journey from being unable to speak until the age of 11 to becoming a Cambridge professor. Softly spoken and thoughtful, he was just 41 when he died. In recent weeks, he had been subjected to relentless attacks online. Allow that to sink in this Sunday morning as a family wakes up and continues to deal with the raw pain of losing their loved one. So we can't publicly criticize people unless we're afraid that they're going to off themselves. No one had that concern in mind when they were going after me. I will just say, when they, without evidence, without proof, believed every media smear, every Democrat Biden-led DOJ smear, no one was concerned about my well-being. No one was concerned about how my family was feeling throughout all of this. So you guys can go to hell. 100%. You can go to hell. You don't actually care about him. If you did, you would have tried to get him help earlier. We wouldn't have just enabled him. And yeah, the real victims here, it's not Jason Arday, who by all accounts did this to himself. It's his family. It's his family. And no one on the right wanted this. No one on the right wanted this. Yeah, Zara Sultana MP. If Jason Arday were a white middle-class academic, he would not have been hounded by the British press in the way he was. My thoughts are with his loved ones. May he rest in peace. So Sargon, Carl Benjamin, he did a video about this. Like, objectively, this is untrue. We have academics who were hounded by the press for, you remember that guy who he wore a shirt with like a pinup girls on it that a female had given to him, and he was hounded to the point of having to retire and log off? Yeah, so no, we're not playing the idea that white males are treated with kid gloves by the media, because that's objectively untrue. BBC Politics calls for public inquiry into Jason Arday, quote, witch hunt. Okay, yeah, now because it's the UK and of course you don't have freedom of speech, maybe there are people who are going to be prosecuted for the witch hunt against Jason Arday, aka calling out like obvious falsehoods. Twitch Billy, I was concerned for Lauren. Oh, I thank you so much. I really honestly, there were people who threw that out that all were sending me nice messages, and I didn't have I was told to go radio silent, so I couldn't say anything publicly, but I read all of the supportive messages. I honestly did, and they did help. I'm not just trying to placate people, but with all the media stuff, all of the political stuff, the DOJ stuff, seeing people reach out and say I don't believe this. I followed you for a long time. This seems like BS. I hope your family okay. I'm praying for you. Honestly, it was a huge comfort. So if you were one of those people who reached out, just thank you. Thank you. That meant a lot. But yeah, the media didn't care. These leftists who are so-called empaths who are so concerned about Arday, they didn't care. Yeah, Philip Proudfoot, Jason Arday is dead. Right-wing reactionary media did this. relentless public attacks on what should have been an internal university matter and not the subject of a mass media frenzy, blood on their hands. F you. F you. Yeah, woman says the media is to blame, responding to the death of former Cambridge professor Jason Arday after plagiarism scandal. I hope all the journalists that contributed to this pylon know that there is blood on their hands. Like, these are people who will relentlessly hound, like, not only people like myself, but people like Trump, his inner circle. They'll call them Nazis, white supremacists. They don't care who they hurt. So yeah, it's very hypocritical for them to like, oh, now we care about being kind, giving benefit of the doubt, not going too hard on a pylon. It's just exhausting. It's just exhausting. The new redneck, sorry, I didn't know about you at the time. That's okay. So let's now turn to Lindsay Clancy. I don't think we're gonna have time to get into Dean Withers, but let's talk about Lindsay Clancy. So as I said in the intro, this is a story that's been going on for a while, but I didn't want to address it because honestly, it's just upsetting to me. Lindsay Clancy is currently standing trial for the murder of her 3 children, her young 3 children, where the state alleges, innocent until proven guilty. We want to see a fair trial and all the evidence presented, but it's alleged that she basically methodically killed her children one by one while her husband was out running errands. Why? With that being the case, you might wonder, are so many women on TikTok and social media in general defending Lindsay Clancy to the point where they've now raised, I think, $715,000 for her? Well, apparently it's because she was dealing with postpartum depression and maybe postpartum psychosis. She was admittedly on a little bit of a cocktail of medication. She had voiced to doctors that she was, having trouble with mental health. She was feeling like she was disassociating. This, according to some of these women, mean that, hang on, let's give her a chance. Let's be sympathetic to her. Is it even her? Some are asking. Maybe the husband did it. This is BS. This is 100% BS. These people who are now like so quick to rush to Lindsay Clancy's defense because her mental health, but she was on medication. You never hear these same people use those arguments for like a male school shooter, even though arguably they would technically apply as well. And that's because I've said this before when it comes to people like the killer of Irina Zarutska. Yeah, mental health struggles or not, you are still ultimately responsible for your own actions. You are still, you have agency. Oh, but I was crazy. Still didn't need, like, she had other options. She could have just literally removed herself from the situation if she was worried about harming her kids. Also, the fact that she did send her husband out, that kind of speaks, I don't know, to me, that she knew what she was doing. She knew that if she had tried to do something with him in the room, he would have tried to stop her. She went insane. Her doctors destroyed her. Okay, I'm not even saying we shouldn't also hold the doctors who were involved in her treatment accountable for not doing enough to, raise the hang on. There you go. I'm not even saying, wait, why do you guys hear? Okay, there we go. Sorry. My background window was playing. I'm not even saying don't hold the doctors involved in her treatment responsible for failing to commit her, but she has culpability. 100% she has culpability. And the fact that there are so many women who are acting as if she doesn't, or, it's understandable what she did, it's scary. It's scary. And I just feel like this is part of the trend of women wanting to have their cake and eat it too. You want all of the rights that come with being like a responsible adult, someone with free will and rationality, but you don't want any of the responsibility that comes with it. And Axel Foley, this is first degree, premeditated murder. Fry the switch. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Treeborn Frog 345. It's interesting what crowdfunding platforms have become. Well, that's also what's kind of curious. It seems like there's double standards, multiple accounts here. I thought we weren't allowed to like fundraise in the same way. If someone was like, I guess you're allowed to fundraise for legal defense. I don't know. Just because you're accused of something, it just feels like because she is a woman, she's basically become the Carmelo Anthony for Instagram, TikTok, social media women. And I think part of this also is the fact that we have removed personhood. There we go. Removed personhood from babies, and I think by extension children, to such an extent with the abortion debate that now it's actually not really seen as that big of a deal to kill your kids if you're a woman. I mean, like, were you sad though? Were you having a hard day? Is it really her fault? Yes. Yes. And actually, this is the most like outrageous piece of like media to come out of this. Here is a therapist license who's defending Lindsay Clancy.
The Lindsay Clancy trial is going to be one of the most significant trials of your lifetime. We are all experiencing something completely unprecedented. Never before have we seen so many mothers and women rally behind somebody who confessed to killing her 3 children.
Oh yeah, and so like to be clear, she is pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. And so there are people out there saying like, hang on, I think her husband did it instead. To be clear, as far as I know, that is not even something that Lindsay's own legal team is asserting. It seems to be like they are focusing on the fact that her mental health was degraded to the point where she did in fact do this. And so she admits that she did this. There is no defense for this. Oh, but she was on all these prescriptions. Okay, let's have a discussion about a doctor. You still did this. You still had the agency to keep taking those pills. You were not a victim here. You killed your 3 children. Yeah, not just one, but all 3 of them. And the fact that, like, so obviously she's terrible. She's going to burn in hell. But the fact that women are rallying around her, that is what is concerning. That is what is like red flags, not good.
And it is not because we cannot hold women accountable.
Kind of seems like that's what you're asking for.
Many of us see ourselves in Lindsay.
What? That is insane. That is actually insane. Why do you see yourself in like what? No, okay. Like this is a problem. Okay, this if you as a woman see yourself in Lindsay at all, someone who is like, we're not just talking about, oh, she was a mother who expressed burnout. Okay, that's fine. She killed her children, 3 of them, one after another. That is not no. Okay, we do not see ourselves in Lindsay. We do not identify with that. Imagine being one of the kids of that therapist. Like, what? Yeah, exactly. What? Dan9847, the mental health stats say as well that you are more likely to harm yourself than anyone else. Yeah, that is actually, I think, a more compelling like thing to point out. Hang on, if you were having all these mental health issues, why weren't they directed like on yourself? Why was the instinct to murder instead of self-harm? Insane. I hope her license gets revoked. Yeah, me too. This is actually, if this is your therapist, this is why therapy in 2026, I'm sorry, I'm yelling. I'm angry. If you were a podcast listener, I'm sorry for yelling in your ear. This is why therapy in 2026 is BS, okay? Am I saying that there is no condition where someone might find like a mental health counselor helpful? No, okay? That's actually not what I'm saying. But the reason why I criticize therapy is that too many therapists in 2026 are actually neurotic liberal activists like this woman who are only trying to feed into your own delusions. It's kind of like a Munchausen by proxy kind of situation going on. They're not actually interested in treating you. They have their own neuroses and they're feeding off of yours. It's like a folie à deux situation. That's too much of therapy in 2026. Some of these therapists seem like witch doctors. Yes. And so I don't have an issue with counseling and therapy in theory, but I think in practice, it is overwhelmingly toxic. Yes.
Many of us know that we could have been only one step away from doing some of those horrific things.
No.
Because we experienced significant mental health issues after one of our children was born.
Okay, again, like, okay, postpartum depression, I think it's kind of like people used to say, oh, that's not a real thing. I think we can talk about how after birth, it's a very hard time for a lot of moms. We're struggling with sleep deprivation. We don't have the support from extended family and friends that we would have in the past. We're feeling atomized. It's overwhelming. That can cause burnout and stress. Like, I'm for that conversation. Yes, 100%. When you start to justify triple homicide That's when you lose me. That's where like, okay, hang on. This is not a get out of jail free card when it comes to murder. Okay, no. Okay, postpartum depression, anxiety is like, oh, like I had a breakdown and I was, I was unkind with my husband and I shouldn't have been. Okay, it is not, I killed my 3 children. Triple baby homicide. Yeah, crazy bitch. What, like, okay, if you're a man and you see a woman you're interested in sharing any kind of sympathy or empathy toward Lindsay Clancy, red flag. Okay, red flag. You do not want to marry someone or have kids with someone where when it comes to a baby murderer, she's like, actually, she had a point. Like, what? No. Yeah, the therapist is self-reporting 100%. This is insane.
And many of us know just how dark some of those thoughts get.
Axel Foley, it's not even the heat of moment. It was planned. It's not manslaughter. Yes, this was not like, oh, she just tried something in the heat of the moment. Again, she waited. She sent her husband out on errands. This was premeditated. This was planned. And I think Matt Walsh had a good post. There's a difference between like premeditation and like an intrusive thought versus a desire. Because like an intrusive thought, okay, those we all have. Like you're driving and you're kind of like in the back of your lizard brain crazy part is like, what would happen if I just like veered into the oncoming lane? Like that's an intrusive thought. And we get those out and we don't like them. We don't listen to them. Clearly this was not just an intrusive thought. She did it. Okay. That's not the same thing.
So yeah, this is going to be one of the most significant trials of your lifetime.
Horrifying. No. So as a woman, I don't identify with Lindsay Clancy. I don't buy any of the defenses. Matt Walsh says, let's be really clear about this. If you're a mother who has ever entertained the idea of murdering your own children or felt any desire to do so, it's not because you're a victim of postpartum depression. You aren't a victim at all. Nobody should feel sorry for you. You're not worthy of pity. You are a raging narcissist and you hate your children because they impose on your lifestyle. That is all. And you know it. It's not hormones. Hormones can't cause you to develop murderous desires toward your own offspring. Your soul is the problem. Go off, Matt. 100%. And yeah, the idea that she's like, women are rallying around her, it is because of like this narcissism, this anti-motherhood narcissism, where women resent the idea that they're expected to take care of their children. They're expected to put their children's well-being before their own. It's pure straight up narcissism that's been enabled by feminism. And these women are trying to make themselves into the victim. Like no one is saying that motherhood is not hard. But it's not an excuse to murder. It's not an excuse to murder. And guess what? I'm sorry, but sometimes life is hard and that doesn't mean it's not doing. Like, it doesn't mean that you're, not worth doing. It doesn't mean that you're the victim. And this is what I mean. Women cannot have it both ways, okay? Either, oh, you're the victim and it's just also bad. You're being oppressed and it's just too much to handle. Or you are a rational adult equal to a man and you deserve all the rights that come along with that. You cannot have it both ways. If you cannot even be expected to regulate your own emotions and actions after a thing necessary for human survival, like, I don't know, birth, then you should not be given the full extent of civic rights and responsibilities that other people are. There we go. Calvicon, the hens have been coming at Matt all day today. You know what? I think Matt is okay with being attacked by the, for some reason, pro-baby murder group. Yeah, these people vote terrifying. And it's just like, oh, I get called misogynistic all the time, but I'm like 100% a girl's girl. I am a girl's girl. I am like all my close friends are women. I love mother, anything feminine, but like it frustrates me that so much of like social media toward women, so many of the political movements that like are formed around women, it all has to do with avoiding accountability for women. That's really what it is all about. And like people have brought this up. There is a reason, if this is your first instinct to defend the baby murder, there is a reason why like every society for all of basically time and history up until 20 minutes ago has chosen to restrict the rights of women. It's because of women like this. Insane. Yeah, and so here we have like all these people.
Proof that Patrick Clancy's new wife may have helped unalive the children and Lindsay. Here you can see Rachel. She's icing.
So it's just like, yeah, the crazy conspiracy. issue. Apparently his lawyers are looking into suing retarded TikTok biatches like this, and I hope that's true. Yeah, ladies, in less than 24 hours, we made the news and donated over 500K. I think it's over 700K now. Yeah, why do women always pick such crap martyrs and idols? Why not a woman of value, a woman who died for her child rather than one who killed her child? Why not an honorable woman who takes responsibility for her actions and the consequences as well? Why one who does not? Why? Like, it's just... Oh, people are also ragging on the father because he's now married again. It's like, this was 3 years ago, to be clear. So he's moved on after like this objectively horrific thing that happened in his life. And it's just, it disgusts me. Honestly, the Lindsay Clancy issue, it disgusts me. It makes me disgusted for women. It makes me so sad to see motherhood and like children disrespected in such a way. And, you know, I'm not on board with like a lot of the red pill anti-woman stuff because, like I said, I am a girl's girl. I think like femininity and like motherhood, a lot of that is so virtuous, and I like, that's what I aspire to be. But when I see stuff like this, when I see you crazy bitches defending a baby murderer who doesn't deny being a baby murderer, that's when I'm like, all right, no one has rights now. Okay, everyone's rights no more. We tried that, nice run. You clearly can't be trusted. Too insane. All right, though. My throat is unironically sore now because I've been screeching at you folks. But fun stream, regardless. Some heavy issues here. Surprisingly dark stream, actually. But we will be back Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So I hope I see you folks then and there. Big thank you to everybody. Kick, Twitch, Rumble, and X, the live chat. You guys have been great. I've had so much fun hanging out with you guys. I hope you can say the same. But I will see you guys hopefully Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And we are going to start looking at what extended streams might look like. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Don't forget, feel free to follow X, Instagram, Facebook if you're not already. Goodbye, guys. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.